Hey, well, I promised to do a video on more about finances in the Philippines. So we had quite a few. Always get this. We try to be as transparent as possible. Obviously, we're not going to tell everybody all of our business, but we do try to make it so that it's informative and of use to people who are coming out to live in the Philippines. So one of my good friends expressed the concern that he, as per my last video that I did on financing, where he would be afraid of coming out here and not have the money to get home if everything went wrong. And that's a legitimate concern. Another subscriber said that he would have to have at least 1 year's full expenses and plus the money, I think, to get home if everything goes wrong. Looking at everything going wrong is not the way to do it, but this is only my opinion. But then all of it's only my opinion, isn't it? So all of the responses that I had, the comments that I got when I talked about the fact that my pension from the UK has still not arrived, and that's of some concern to us. And of course, I had a very clever man who obviously is a brilliant financier who told me that I'd done it all wrong anyway, and that if I was dependent on a small pension coming from the UK, then obviously I was completely incompetent. And he mentioned our 5-year dream project, which we have been giving updates on constantly for the last 2 years. So anybody that's been with us even for the last 2 years has seen that come together from breaking ground. But anyway, let's before we start to go into criticisms about how we've done compared to how perhaps we would have done in the US, let's just take a quick walk around and I'll show you what we have. This is in a very brief walk around. I'll show you where we are right now, so you'll see what I'm looking at. I'll just switch over now. So we live in a nice house. I get criticized because I say that we live modestly, and then people look at our house here and say that's not a modest living. But the way that we live is modest. And let me try to get this camera a little bit more stable. The way we live is quite modest. We don't eat great. We eat very modestly. That's our diet. And this is where we live, and this is the house. This is the result of 10 years of working hard, and we have worked hard. So what have we got? Well, this is a little look outside. I'll make it quick. This is our house. We've worked hard for that. I have a nice bike, a sports bike, Yamaha. That's all going around the house there. Beth has a scooter which she uses. We have a nice truck. That truck is now, I think, 5 years old. And this is our project that one subscriber, and not just one subscriber, has referred to as a white elephant. So that's your viewpoint. You're entitled to that opinion. I don't agree with it, but you're entitled to that opinion. So that's the little stage that we've done some concerts on and hope to do more in the future. And we'll double as like a coffee bar lookout, because you can see the coast from here right over there. So that's what we've got. That's what we've worked for. We've worked hard for that. We had a lot of help. We have a lot of support from subscribers, not giving us gifts, but we've worked hard for it, and I don't think that that's a white elephant. Okay, so back again. That's our little look. What I find that people do mostly, if we are being very transparent and honest, if things are not going great, we don't consider that it's not going great, but other people might, and then we get a challenge like a missed, well, a not received pension. We talk about that because anybody that's coming out here may suffer the same thing, and if they know what we've been through, then we hope that that is informative. So, if you're coming out here on a modest pension like us, let's say that you're coming out with around 1,000. I see people who are talking about that they have $2,000 as their pension. Boy, wouldn't that be nice? You could live very well, I think, for $2,000. But then we are not high livers. Beth and I, you can see on our videos and on Facebook, you can see that we occasionally go out and have lunch at a very nice resort, and we splash out. Life, after a certain point, life becomes very, very similar to wherever you have come, because that's how you live. That's how you're used to living, and you'll continue to do that. People don't change just because they've changed their environment. They don't change in their habits. If you are one who likes to go to fancy restaurants, then you'll still want to do that. And you should choose the lifestyle that A, that you would be happy with, and B, that you can afford. And somewhere between that lies the trick of living. So that's what we've got. We've reached the point where we have got the house and it's paid for. We actually are living not rent-free. We're living debt-free. We don't have a credit card, don't want one, was never very disciplined with my use of a credit card. So one of the stipulations that I made for myself when we met, when Beth and I met, was that I don't want any credit cards. Don't have them, don't need them, don't want them. Okay? So we're not out there trying to rent stuff where you have to have a credit card, and life here in the Philippines is a lot different. Okay? They try at the bank to get us to take a credit card. Well, you've got the account here and blah, 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 blah. Why don't you get a credit card? Why would we have a credit card? Well, because you could buy things on credit then. No thanks. All that you've seen just now is paid for. Now, sorry to inform those who think that we've bungled our life and have completely mismanaged our finances. We're not in debt. We haven't hocked the property so that we can finish it. We work, and for the guy who called me dude, I'm not dude, okay? My name is there for you to see, right? My name is Terence, and Beth and I, from the start, have worked very hard together as a team. Now, when you come out here, you choose very carefully for the lady that you are going to be spending your life with. I chose wisely. I think not many people would agree that I made a choice based on wisdom, because when I looked at her when we first met, I thought, she's way too young for me. And when she looked at me, guess what? She said, he's way too old for me. But in between that, we struck up conversation, and we talked about what we wanted from life, and we reached an agreement that we could live happily together. Now, so far it's only lasted 11 years, so let's not get my hopes up too much. But that's what we've done. We've tried to save very hard. by living very simply. And sorry to the fellow who thought that we didn't live modestly, because we do. Eating, going out, we're not great for going out, so we live a very simple, quiet life now that we're not doing so much charity work. The donations that my friend suggested, he said, you said that you're not asking for any help, which we're not. We're doing very well, thank you. And he said, so if you were really sincere, you would be suggesting that the donations go to charity. Well, have a look at a few more of the videos before you, as one of our other subscribers suggested to Mr. Dude, why don't you look at a few more videos on this channel before you comment? Well, that was the man who suggested that I send my much younger wife out to get a job. Beth is the one who handles our money. And for that man who says, I can't watch an old man being tricked out of his money. If I was being tricked, Beth could have walked away a long time ago, because in the Philippines you don't own any land. Okay? So, that's where we are, living debt-free, living modestly. We own everything. We don't have payments. Now, if the two people, especially who criticize the way that we live and handle our money, if they're living in America, I checked all of this information that I'm going to give you now is all the real thing. I didn't make it up. This is all statistical information which is available to anybody. If you're on Facebook, go to Meta and ask the questions. I asked the questions. The first question that I asked was, what is the average debt level of anybody in America at the moment? It's slightly better than I thought from a few years ago, because a few years ago, the answer to that question would have been $10,000 on a credit card. But let's go from the top as I was given it, okay? 40% of Americans, right? Let's say American families. 40% of all American families in America, statistically, are one check away from poverty. One check. One missed check. So us missing on one pension, we're not in poverty. We're still doing pretty good. But one missed check brings a family in America at the moment, 40% will be in poverty. In other words, one missed check and they wouldn't be able to last another month. Now, 4 in 10 are struggling to pay their bills. This is all statistically. 4 people in 10 are struggling to pay their bills. 1 in 10 US households are behind in their bills, so they're already late. Well, we've told you that our next big bill will be the taxes on the house and the property. And yeah, we're looking to find that right now, so trying to be honest. 1 in 10, that's 1 in 10 are behind in their bills. Now, 15 million people are at risk of eviction. 15 million risk of eviction, with 6.5 million owing up to $20 million to their landlord. Now, obviously, we're talking about great numbers of people, but they're all behind in their rent as well. This is 6.5 million are behind in their rent. The average credit card debt is $6,550, going up to a high end of $10,750. Okay? So the baby boomers, right? Baby boomers are who were born 59 to 77, they're in credit card debt of $6,500, right? So the total credit card debt in America is $1.29 million. $1.29 million. I think that's actually $1 trillion, but I read it as million. It's not million. A million is nothing anymore, is it? People don't talk about millionaires. A lot of guys who are millionaires don't actually know it. In America, for instance, if someone who's coming out here and they're retiring, and they sell a house that is paid for, right, if they're one of the lucky ones who have retired at retirement age and have a pension, let's say your pension is between $1,000 and $2,000 a month, you'll be pretty lucky. The one that I saw that was talking about, he'd come out here to retire and he'd found someone that he loved and he had a second excuse me, a second chance at life. He was actually, he'd found himself without a mission, is my own diagnosis on his situation. But he was receiving over $2,000 a month. You can rent, even if you only rented, you could rent somewhere very nice and live a very nice life on that. Right, so getting back to the idea that if a man was at retirement age and he was thinking of coming out to America, from America to here, certainly things at the moment as a result of the last administration are not going great for a lot of people in America. So that's why they're coming out to live in the Philippines. And this is often given as a criticism. They're saying, oh, that guy, he couldn't afford to live in America. Believe me, a lot of people can't afford to live in America, especially on people who are on retirement and are not receiving $2,000. Well, it's all about what it will cost you. So what did I try and do? I had some other things. An average, an average mortgage in the Philippines. Let's look at if in America. If you're living in America and you're on retirement, an average mortgage can be from, $500 to $1,500 a month. And if you I'll look forward to hearing any of the comments about what your bills are in America and how that's going. But I tried to get an idea of what it's like to live in America at the moment. And one of the things that Kamala was asked very often was, what are you going to be able to do to help people who can't even buy a house? Now, when you come out here, you can, even though it seems a lot, because people are talking about 700,000 or $1 million pesos. Think about it. If you sell up a house that's already paid for and you were able to buy here, if you came over and you'd sold, let's say you sold a nice car, let's say you sold household goods, tools, and all of that, and you were able to come over here with anything between $500,000 and $750,000, we're talking about a lot of money. Let's keep the math simple for me. If you came over with $1 million, that would be 58 million pesos. So cut that down in half. You only came up with $500,000, which, if you're selling a house and car and stuff like that and some savings, you will be realizing in pesos 20 to 25 million. And that's just math. So, let me see, what was it? One of the things that I found, I asked Meta, I said, what's the average car insurance? So it's difficult to find an average because things vary so much. If you live in the centre of LA and you were a musician, then you could expect to pay quite a bit. But it varies from $69 to $250 for average car insurance. I'm sure that I was paying, I would question that. I think I was paying more than that when I was in Florida. So you can see that coming over here, you are coming to a place where the exchange rate at the moment is $1 brings, I think, 58 pesos. I can go out, I get a haircut, and it costs me $2. It costs me $2 because I tip. The barber actually charges me $1. $1. A little bit more than $1. Well, what was it? 70 pesos. So $1.25. And if you only gave him a quarter tip, it would still be okay here. You've already seen, if you look at my recent videos, you've already seen what we spend on groceries. Looking at how big the property is that we've got, and paying as well for my mother-in-law in the mountains, our electricity bill is 6,000 pesos. Work the math out for yourself, 6,000 pesos for a month's electricity. We don't pay for water. That goes on to our electricity bill because we have a well and we pump. The well is pumped up by an electric pump to a holding tank and then down to a smaller one, which gives us the pressure that we need to work in the kitchen and in the bathroom. So we pay, let me see, at the moment it's 60 pesos, right, so $1 per litre for diesel, $1 per litre. Now, I go on my bike quite a bit. That's an interesting one there. It's just cost me 750 pesos to register my bike. Okay, now when I registered the truck, it cost 4,500, and that was done by Ford, the Ford dealership. Saves me doing all of the paperwork, and of course they charge a fee. You could do it for less on that. So things are cheap here. I've had people claim no, things are not cheap there. Well, those are the prices. This is what I've been telling you compared to what you would be paying in America. I know in America you can't rent a decent apartment for under, I would think, under $1,000. But hey, tell me in the comments. Tell me what you're paying. Tell me whether you're finding a struggle. Tell me how much you think you need to earn to be able to live in the Philippines. Tell me if you're part of the 40% that is living one check away. We'll have a discussion. I'm giving you what the real figures are for me and what I've discovered in my research, how things are in the UK. Please like, comment and subscribe. It does help us a lot. As I've said before, we are being penalized at the moment on our views, on how much we are being promoted, even to our subscribers who actually press the bell and say, please inform me of new videos. And in the comments you can see people are saying, I didn't know you were still here. I'm not being notified of your new videos. We're being penalised because I made videos on that fatal subject of COVID-19 and other things. They don't even like us to talk about AI. I made a video saying about AI that nothing is as it seems, which I'm sure that's another video. So please share. If you share, it's a tremendous help to us. Bye for now.